Hi guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset mastery doctor, and your leverage for change. Today I want to speak about one of the worst character flaws a person can have. And I say that it's the worst. Of course, this is my opinion because it kind of is an overarching kind of a way of thinking that really affects so many other ways that they will behave as a result of this characteristic. And this characteristic I want to speak about today is pride. Pride. You know, pride is something that will prevent someone. They believe that they can not do anything wrong. They are not able to accept when they do something wrong because their mindset is that they know everything, they're the best at everything, and they're not going to look like a failure at any cost. So whatever they have to do, lie, steal, cheat, to not look like a failure because of that pride, they will do. And so this characteristic kind of like spawns of different other behaviors that can be very toxic, dangerous, and also not only toxic to the people around them, but also to themselves, because they then have to behave in certain ways to maintain that facade that they have built up, that they are perfect in every single way and they can do no wrong. I mean, they know everything, they're the best at everything, and so this kind of behavior, and they want to be seen as such. If you don't kind of like almost bow down to them to make them feel so important, they will take offense to it because of that pride. Pride is something, for example, it also kind of can blind that person who is so prideful because they cannot see anything else but what they believe to be true. So they're not open to other people's opinions. You know, anything else, despite the fact that there may be evidence proving their opinion or the way of thinking that is wrong, and that there are better ways to do this thing, they will not agree to it because they just cannot accept that somebody else would come up with a better idea than they can, right? And so they will just at the expense of everything. I mean, I've read about individuals who were at the helm of very large organizations who, because of their pride, just kind of, they knew something was wrong, they made that decision, and they realized that the decision they made was wrong. But because of the pride that they have and to maintain the image that they have, you know, as somebody who knows it all and is good at everything and that good at this thing, marketing maybe, or whatever it is that they do and they're good at. Maybe it's a sport. Maybe it's somebody who's a CEO or something of a large organization that have done well, started the business, done well, and then somehow made some really bad decisions, but they will not accept it because of the pride. The pride that they, everybody looks up to them, everybody knows they're good at this, and then now for them to fail, they cannot live with that kind of a failure. So that pride will now cause them to do things that are really bad, can be, to kill people. I mean, you've seen it in organizations of people to quiet them so they don't talk about the fact that maybe they knew something that was wrong and they're the only person who knew, and they might harm somebody else because of it. And so people can go down a very dangerous road when they have this character flaw, I call it, because it's not a good characteristic to have, character trait to have. Pride is not something that you would want to go out and say, well, okay, so you have to have a sense of pride in yourself or the things that you do, but you shouldn't be so prideful that you cannot see anything else but yourself, right? And anything that concerns you. There's a difference there, right? You have to have pride in yourself, right? That's totally different. The next thing that pride prevents is someone from doing is really to take responsibility. If something is wrong, they're not going to take responsibility for their actions. They're not going to want to apologize because for them, that kind of behavior is seen as weakness. And so they will not accept it. They might try and pass it on or pass on the blame to somebody else, but they will not accept it. And so for someone who is prideful, they're not going to be somebody who is vulnerable, because they're not going to put themselves in that vulnerable state that requires them to apologize to someone and say, I'm so sorry, I did this wrong. It's my fault. What can I do to make it better? Or how can we work together to make this better? Or will you forgive me? They won't do that. These are people who will know that they're doing things that are wrong, especially in relationships, and they will not apologize. They sidestep it and may do something else to make it look as if to kind of show the person that they're probably a little sorry, but they won't say they're sorry. They may go out and buy the person something that they like, or buy them some food, or fix something for them or something, but they will not come to you and say, I am sorry, I did that. I'm so sorry. I will try not to do it again, because nobody's perfect. We all know everybody's a work in progress, but these people believe that they are perfect somehow and that they cannot fail, and they do not like to fail. And if they fail, when I say if they perceive that they did something wrong, they will not own up to it. Now, in the matters of relationships, this is a really toxic behavior to have, because what happens is that this person who is prideful will not really be vulnerable enough, and it's that vulnerability again, to allow themselves to really give everything of themselves in a relationship. They will always be holding something back, and this is actually a character trait of a lot of people who are narcissists for sure, and a lot of individuals who are dismissive avoidance, because but they do it for different reasons. The narcissists definitely do it because they just enjoy that power of pride, being prideful, right? But the dismissive avoidant individual does it because they're protecting themselves, because they don't trust relationships. They don't trust that somebody will actually love them, and the fear of getting hurt is very real to them, because in their childhood, the dismissive avoidant child would have reached out to their parent at an early age, reached out for love or affection or whatever it is, and just never received it. So they don't trust relationships, right? And so when they're in relationships, what will happen is that they develop this kind of a prideful behavior, which is nothing compared to the narcissist, but prideful in that they will not want to really be vulnerable in the relationship, because what they believe is that they have to keep their heart safe. And so to fall in love, to allow themselves to just fall fully in love with a person and embrace it, they will not allow that, because for them, that is going to make them vulnerable and weak. Suppose they go to this place and fall in love with someone, right? And then that person turns around and leave them or hurt them in some way, then it's very difficult for them to get over that, right? So they wear this armor, this iron armor over their heart, basically, to prevent that from happening. But it is a kind of maybe the pride is not the right word for the dismissive avoidant. It's probably lack of vulnerability. But the pride, the reason I mentioned pride is because it would come into the as someone who would just not want to put themselves out there fully, because to fail, to have somebody not love them after putting everything into that relationship, for them would damage their pride. So maybe that's the way I should describe that. But for the narcissist, that's in their regular playbook. Pride, they are prideful people. They have to be somebody who is prideful. Have to be the best at everything. Even if they can't do anything, they'll pretend that they are or say that they are. And if they have to prove it, they'll find all kind of different excuses not to participate, so they don't have to disprove that they're really not all that in that area. They will be just, they'll just always be touting that they are the best at things that, say for example, they are very good in sports, very good basketball players. They may not want to go and they're not really so good at tennis. They may not want to go play tennis with you because For them, they have to be good. They're the best at this thing, basketball. So not to go be vulnerable, showing the fact that they're not good at everything is, for somebody who's prideful, they won't want to do that. All right. They will also, someone who's prideful will also have this demeanor of really, if something is wrong, they'll attack first, because they realize if they know that they're failed in some way, but they don't want someone to find out, what they'll do is attack first. Because what happens is that when they attack first, they kind of gain the upper hand, and the other person might just kind of just don't even bother with it, because depending on the person, if that person is not a peaceful, non-toxic person, then they may just say what they want to say and be done with it. But by attacking first and becoming and just kind of like forcing you into some kind of a power struggle kind of thing, they kind of protect themselves from showing up that they failed at something, pretty much. So they will always, because they don't want you to question them, and so to prevent you from questioning them, they will attack first, so that you lose interest in doing that, because either you're afraid of them or you just don't want to be in an argument with them. All right. Because they have a certain image that they always have to maintain, and so this image is very important to them, and they'll go to any lengths, guys. A lot of people, depending on how toxic or cruel or whatever it is this person is, they will lie, cheat, kill, steal, use others to get and maintain that that way of being, being prideful about, thinking that they're pretty much the best thing since sliced bread, if you call it that. And so you have to be really careful of these people. Somebody who is prideful, they're not very good to be in a relationship with, because they're never ever going to be the one to say they're sorry or apologize, or actually really want to connect with you in that kind of a vulnerable way that couples have to be able to connect to have successful relationships. So guys, I hope that you've learned something, or at least caused you to think in another way about this particular character trait. And if you learn something that's that can help you and maybe able to help someone else, please like my video, share it with a friend. And guys, I will be starting, look out for in my posts on YouTube and elsewhere, other social media, about this new this workshop I'll be starting in March, because it's for the anxious. I'm just focusing right now on the anxious preoccupied, because I find that we have most of the people who seek help are anxious, are from that attachment style. In my case anyway, these are the people who will actually be more open to seek help and get help. Okay, this is Christine, guys, your relationship and mindset master doctor, and your leverage for change. Enjoy your holidays, and always keep growing. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.